one of each symbol for this. Cross, wave, circle, star, square. I'm going to turn these around. And I'd like you to mix them up as much as you can, so none of us know which symbol is in which position.
Okay.
You can then collect them up into a little pile. Perfect, and keep them face down. I remember when I was younger, I used to collect paranormal magazines.
Yeah.
I'd buy them from second-hand bookshops so I could read through the stories. And one story that really stood out to me was about a little girl who couldn't see, but she could tell the time on a gentleman's watch just by touching the face. Now, whether she was just very good at estimating the time based on what was going on around her, or whether it was real psychic ability, I don't think we'll ever know. But it's a really fascinating concept. 5 symbols mixed into a random order by you, just with the fingertips. That's a cross, correct?
Yeah.
A star. A circle. And this will be the last one. This is a bit difficult. The waves, and of course the square. Yeah, feel them. It's just ink.
Oh my gosh. How?
Here, let's try this. We'll use the square, the waves, and the star. These two will place here. Do you want to pick those up and mix them up underneath the table if you could?
Right, okay.
Yeah, just keep them all face down, mix them up underneath the table. And when you're done, you can take that envelope and place them inside the envelope underneath the table, face down, so neither of us know which order the cards are in. And you can pass that to me underneath the table. This is just so there's no way that I can be accused of cheating. If I don't see even the envelope, I'll never be able to tell what symbols are in what order. I believe, top to bottom, we've got the waves, the square, and then the star. The waves, the square, and then the star.
What the?
Let's try one more thing with these. This time I'm going to do it without touching anything. So again, mix them around as much as you would like and then split them into a nice set of 3 cards in front of you. Okay, I'll do this. In a moment, I'm going to ask you to pick up one of the cards and place it. Do you have pockets?
Yeah.
Yeah, cool, okay. I'm going to ask you to place one of the cards into your left-hand pocket. Don't look at the symbol, don't look at the face, just without looking, take a card and place it inside. And again, you can mix these cards around. And now take one of the cards and without looking, place it in your right hand pocket. And the final symbol you can just hold in between your hands like this. Okay, a little bit closer, perfect. This is the square, I believe. Open your hands.
No way.
And we'll try and do these simultaneously. You can place your hands on the table, it's fine, wherever's comfortable. Mm-hmm. I'm going to do this at a distance. We have the waves over here and the star is over here. Do you want to take them out?
Oh my gosh.
Excellent. Okay, so this is Sensor. This was based off a colour sensing routine I used to do with playing cards using a shiner and nail nicks and all sorts of stuff, but that's not important. What is important is what you will need if you want to perform this trick. You'll need your eclipse deck. You'll need 2 perfectly normal envelopes. From your eclipse deck, you want to take 1 of each symbol. And also you will need 3 duplicate symbols. I use the cross, the waves, and the square. These go in that order, the order 2, 3, 4. Face down into one of the envelopes. That envelope goes underneath my leg. If you're doing this walk around, you could stick it in your back pocket and get them to give you the cards behind your back or something and switch them that way. Mm-hmm. But I do it over a table. So I've got my envelope set up there. I've got 1 other normal envelope, which could be just in my pocket, or it could be with a stack of envelopes if I'm doing other envelope stuff, and the 5 symbols. I will hand the 5 symbols to my lovely assistant. They will shuffle them up. And it's going to be my job. I, of course, tell the story about the little girl who used to be able to tell the time by touching a gentleman's watch and, you know, all of that kind of stuff. I did used to collect those unexplained magazines, but I never read it inside there. I think I heard Darren Brown talk about it when he was doing some kind of seeing with the fingertips thing. So they've given me a mixed up stack of the 5 symbols. I don't need to worry about this one here, and I don't need to worry about looking at it yet. All I'm going to do is hold them like so in a kind of long edge biddle grip type thing. Yeah. But I'm holding this in front of my face, so this creates a really nice frame for like parlour and stuff like that, or if you're...
So the faces of these are facing the audience, the backs are facing you.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. So I don't know which symbol this is, but what I'm going to do is start feeling with my fingertips as if I'm trying to sense what's on the other side, and I'll allow the friction from my finger to pull this card over a little bit. So now this exposes the marking. So now I know that this symbol on the face, this is position 3 that it's marked in, 6 o'clock, that means it's the waves. So I know that this symbol that I'm feeling is the waves. So often, and this was Lewis's suggestion, I kind of move my fingers in the shape of the waves, or if it's a cross, I'd move my fingers like this or whatever. It creates, it's almost like some kind of theatrical moment.
Yeah, it's
like,
as though you're somehow feeling.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So then I'll announce this is the waves, and I'll toss it down. Then straight away I'll pull this one across, and I'll blatantly look as I'm pulling it across, because apparently I've got to do all of this to get the symbol. So it doesn't matter if I'm just doing this, that's irrelevant. So now I know that this is the star because I've just peeked the symbol again. Head turned away. Oh, there's a lot of ink on this one. It must be the star. I explain it's the star. I pull the next symbol across, and you'll notice I'm not being like sneaky about this or anything. I am literally
it's just right there,
pulling it out, and I'm looking at it as I'm doing it, because now I've established the fact that I've got to do this to know what the symbol is. Otherwise, why would I be doing this?
Yeah. It'd be different if you were doing this and then staring at it, but you're looking away.
Yeah.
Like they don't know you've seen it in that second. Yeah.
Exactly. I just pull it over, clock the mark in, and you can get these markings so rapidly.
Yeah. It just takes a glance.
Yeah, just like that. And now I'm going to begin. So now I know this is the cross. So I'm going to go, oh, yeah, I think this is the cross. And the final one, you've got two options. So either you can look at the back card, which the back card is, of course, a square, and look at the symbols on the table, and that'll tell you that the missing symbol is the circle.
You know what's on the table, you know what's on the back, so there's only one symbol, the one on the face could possibly be.
But personally, I mean, you might want to do that if you want to look super clean. Personally,
just do the move again.
I just do the thing again,
and
it's like, oh, it's a circle. Then I've not going to bother remembering what symbols have come out already. I've not got to bother looking at anything.
Yeah.
I just do the exact same thing again. It's the circle, which means that the final one must be the square.
Yeah. And if you're worried about, so when you get down to those final two, you've still been able to reveal 4 of them, but then there's no kind of reveal for this one. I like I've seen you do this in the past. Once you've got that symbol, you've then separated them and then say, okay, this is this and this is this. And then it feels like that final card has a mention rather than it just being the only one left. I think that's really nice. Yeah,
cool. Yeah, I mean, you can play that in a multitude of ways. It really doesn't matter. Whatever feels right to you. I mean, my expectation with teaching all of these sort of effects and methods is I'd expect people to take it in their own way. I mean, I know whenever we're working on stuff with Jack or with Alex or anyone else, we might have a method and a routine as a starting point that one of us has shared with the other, and then it goes in a completely different direction when you actually start playing with it and doing it in your style. So I'm hoping that that's what's going to happen with these, because it's a very versatile tool. I mean, really, we could have just given you the deck and taught you how to use it, and there's hundreds of ESP routines out there, but my big thing is I love when people create their own stuff.
Once they've been shuffled and handed back to you, you could just fan them out like this. There's enough of all of the circles on the back, and then you can just name them out loud as you. So you hold these facing your spectator, and then you can just start naming them. Like that, because you can just see all the markings there. Yeah,
if you wanted to do it like that, you can do it like that. So that's the first phase. Super simple. I'm touching the faces. That's what's giving me the information, apparently.
Yeah.
In reality, I'm reading the marks. So let's move on to the second phase. Okay, so second phase. This is when the envelope comes into play. So remember, underneath my leg, I have an envelope that has 3 cards already inside it. It's got the cross, symbol number 2, the waves, symbol number 3, and the square, symbol number 4.
Yeah.
These go face down inside the envelope. Envelope gets closed, goes underneath my leg, or if you're doing it walk around, it goes.
And that's really the only setup for this.
Yeah, that's it. And I have that there Well, when
From
we
the
were
beginning.
doing the entire show start to finish, I just had that there
Yeah.
from the start of the show.
Or
and
if you're
just,
standing up, it could just be in your back pocket.
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so you've just sensed these 5 symbols. So now we're just going to take 3 of them out. Can you believe it? We're taking out the cross, the waves, the square. So we'll just do this with 3 symbols, and I'll hand this to them, and I'll say underneath the table, I want you to start mixing these up.
Mm-hmm.
So they get mixed up underneath the table, and then I'll pull out my envelope or take it from the stack, and I blatantly crush it open like that. And I'll hand that to them and say, so that you can't see the faces of the symbols, place them face down inside that envelope. So I'm making it very clear that they're placing the cards in the correct orientation so that it matches my sneaky envelope, right?
And one thing you've just said there is you're crushing the envelope open because realistically, people are useless with their hands. If you give them a perfectly flat envelope, you've got them fiddling. Whereas if you've done that to the envelope, I mean, they can't go wrong.
You want to make the process as easy as possible for them because then they're more likely to do it right.
Yeah. Okay, so I've mixed the cards. I've put them in the envelope
and
under
this
the table.
is all happening under the table. I'll say, now I don't want to see this at all. So I want you to hand it to me underneath the table.
Mm-hmm.
And you'll notice that I go down like this. And with this hand, I steal this envelope here. With my other hand, I take the envelope off them.
This would be under the table.
Yeah, so this is my sneaky envelope. I come like this, and then I just switch these around and bring it up like so. And then this just goes back underneath the leg. And I can hold this over my head, or I can keep it underneath the table, or I can do whatever I want. But really, the goal is I'm trying to feel now the energy from these cards rather than seeing the faces of the cards. And it's obviously more difficult because you've got 3 separate cards in there giving off 3 different vibrations, if that's the way you want to play it. And I can't see the faces or backs of any of them. So this goes like this, I'm feeling this. I believe, and I'll toss the envelope down or keep it in my hand, making sure that the flap is facing up, because then the cards are facing down. I believe that top to bottom, face down, we have the cross, the waves, the square. I bring these out straight away, toss the envelope aside, the cross, the waves, the square, the cross, the waves, the square. And the way that I say that is very important because you're saying the names of these symbols constantly throughout an ESP act.
Yeah.
So I need to give them something that they can easily recognize and remember, and it's the rhythmic.
It's like it's like a memorable rhythm. The cross, the waves, the square. The cross, the waves, the square.
Yeah, so I just keep those, the reveal and the...
So the prediction and the reveal are so close together with the same sort of rhythmic pattern. Yeah.
Yeah, it just makes it a lot easier, and they know then to be amazed.
Yeah.
Without having to try and figure something out.
Yeah.
Right? So yeah, that's phase 2. So now, of course, I'm left with these symbols in an envelope underneath my leg. I'll usually just move that to my pocket during some kind of lull or something like that. Or I can just keep them under my leg if I'm going to be sat at the table until the very end, until I pack everything away. It really doesn't matter because it's only 3 symbols out of a 25 symbol deck. And the ones that were in the set of 5 have been replaced now.
Yeah.
So yeah, that just stays away. We don't need to ever see it again.
And if you're doing that with your back pocket rather than under the table, it's the exact same thing. I'd mix them up, put them in the envelope. I'd like you to hand me them behind my back. And then they hand them behind your back as you just put them into your back pocket and take the other one out. As you're saying something along the lines of the reason for handing them behind my back is because I don't want you to think I can somehow see through the envelopes. But in fact, let's keep them here and you can just... Realistically, the best way to do this is under the table, but it can be done behind your back. Just talk whilst you swap the envelopes in your pockets. Say whatever you like, whatever fits your presentation.
Yeah,
And
it's
the same
super
thing.
easy. There's tons of ways of doing it.
Even, I mean, if you're in a restaurant and there's a menu on the table, you could do like an under the menu switch and...
Yeah, under someone's jacket. But yeah, I mean, that's irrelevant anyway. So that's how you do phase 2. You've got the envelope underneath your leg. You swap it when they hand it you underneath the table. You just need to make sure they mix up the symbols, they place it into the envelope face down, and everything that you do during that routine leads them to do that.
Yeah. It's so straightforward.
Yeah, I mean, we're going into too much detail now, but I'd rather go into too much detail than not enough detail. So those symbols are now back in play, and we're going to do phase 3, which is the sort of free will style phase. Okay, so phase 3, this is a really nice way to step it up again. So with the first phase, you had contact with the cards. With the second phase, you had contact with the cards through a blocking device, the envelope. And now with this final phase, you're going to do it without any contact at all. You're just going to be feeling, and revealing what the cards are. We're going to use the same 3 symbols. So the cross, the waves, the square. They're going to be handed off to the person. They can shuffle those up and place them face down in a line on the table. Perfect. Now, they don't know these cards are marked. I do though. So when I move these cards apart like this to apparently place them into the perfect position for this, I'm just clocking where every card is. So I'm just moving this one and going, oh, that's the waves. So I'll remember that waves is there. And as I move this one, that's the square. So I remember it's waves, square, and then cross.
And then obviously the cross is, yeah.
So I'm just moving these cards around, looking at the markings, remembering what they are. Waves, square, cross.
Perfect.
Yeah. So now I'm doing that as I'm explaining that I'm going to try and do this with no contact whatsoever. So at this point I say all you need to do is pick up one of these cards, don't look at the face, just place it into your left pocket. So he's now taken the cross and placed it into his left pocket. So I remember cross, left pocket. Now there's 2 more. I can spread these apart again.
If you need to, if you needed to have another look.
If you need to have another look. So he's going to pick up another one of these. So he's picked up the waves. That's going into his right pocket. And the final one, the square, is going inside of his hands. So I know cross left pocket, waves right pocket, square inside of his hands. And of course, you'll reveal that with a bit more gusto after all of this energy feeling nonsense. And yeah, that's how that works. So that's the entire sensor routine. It's really nice because you've got multiple methods in there cancelling each other out. And,
and it builds on itself as well.
Yeah, the impossibility gets greater every time. So, I mean, if I was going to do one ESP routine that was going to be a bit more lengthy, like if I was going to do one and I just wanted it to be quick, I'd do the opener, you know, because that's super quick, really solid. If I wanted something a bit more lengthy, like to be the middle of a set that flows really nicely, this is the routine that I'd choose. I love
and yeah, because it's not just there's so much mind reading in mentalism, whereas this isn't mind reading. You're sensing something. It's a different skill set apparently. Yeah, 100%. And another nice thing, of course, depending on the presentation you're using, because these are marked, when they go down, you know which one is which. Now, this doesn't really fit the presentation that Dee uses this for, but if you did have your business card, you could have a prediction on there that says something like left pocket cross, right pocket waves, and in the hands, the square. Because these are marked anyway, and you know which one is which once the spectator has mixed them, and you say to them, now just pick one of those up, wait for them to pick one of them up, see which one it is, and then tell them where to put it to suit your prediction. Yeah. So if they pick the waves, and in your prediction that's in their right pocket, they pick it up, great, put that straight into your right pocket, don't look at it yet. Ask them to pick up another one, see which one it is, and then just give them instructions whether they're going to hold it in their hand or stick it in their pocket, just to match your prediction. Then at the end, turn the prediction over, waves in this pocket, this in that pocket, this in the hands. Yeah.
Yeah, I think the hardest thing with using this kind of a method with free will is usually, in the case of most free will routines where you're using things that they know what they've picked up.
Yeah.
It's very difficult to get the delayed reaction that will create a much more explosive reaction. Whereas with this, I specifically say don't look at the faces. So I'll reveal something and then they'll take it out and then they'll be amazed, right? I think that's a really powerful tool to have. So yeah, that's the way that I do censor. Lewis had a couple of extra thoughts. A really nice way to do this with the entire deck.
Yeah, so is this the full deck?
Yeah, that's
excellent. So take them, give them a shuffle.
Yep.
I'm going to be using a pen and a business card for this. All right then. So you could talk about when you were first practicing or strengthening your intuitive abilities, you would use these cards to do the following. So take hold of the deck, and you can even keep mixing them if you want. I would ask friends and family to choose a symbol, place it face down on the table, and I'd try and tell them exactly what it was. When I got good at that, I took this a step further, and even before they'd chosen a card, I'd try and predict exactly which one they were going to choose, and that's what I'm going to do now. So I'm going to be making a list of symbols I feel you're going to choose. I'm going to start up here. This is going to be the top. All right then, so firstly, I think it's going to be this. So take a card from anywhere in the deck, don't turn it over and just stick it face down on the table. All right then. And remember, I'm making my predictions before you're even choosing the card. So the next one I feel you're going to choose is this. I'm going to draw it, and as I say, I'm making a list. So take one of these face down, stick it on the table. And once again, remember, I'm making my predictions before you're even choosing anything. Look at me. The next one is going to be, I feel, is going to be this. Okay? So take it out and place it on the table. Again, I can't change my mind now. And, oh, interesting. The next one is going to be this, I think. Okay, so take one, stick it out on the table, and then at the end I'll show you what I've written, and then we'll see if I got them right or wrong. Normally I'd stop at this point, but I'm feeling pretty confident with how this is going. I think the next one that you'll choose is going to be this. Okay, so take one face down, stick it on the table. All right then, and we'll stop at this point. I think that's more than enough. So we'll keep these in the exact same order. Turn this over and starting from the top, look at what I said the first one would be, the star. And in fact, if we spread these out, you can see I got it exactly. The star, the circle, the square, another square, and the three wavy lines. And of course, that was just a quick and rough presentation, but this is the easiest thing in the world to do. I'm going to start this again on the back. So these are all just shuffled and mixed. And I always like to begin with the star. So on the back of my business card, I do a dot at the top. I say I'm going to be starting from up here and working my way down, making a list, predicting the cards you're going to choose even before you've chosen them. And I always start with the star. It's just the easiest one for me to begin the routine with. So I draw a star. And I ask them to take one out of the deck from anywhere and place it face down on the table. Now, if at this point they choose the star, I can say, excellent. Now remember, I made my decision before you even chose one of these cards. I thought you'd go with the star. Let's take a look at what you've ended up with. And of course, it'd be the star. Now, if it isn't the star, I just look at the marking on the card they've chosen. This time I know it's the circle. So I behave as though, okay, that one's done, that one's dealt with. Now I'm about to make another prediction. I look at them, so I kind of bring the attention away from this. It's like, okay, the next one is going to be this. And all I'm doing is drawing the shape that was there. Okay, this is what I think your second choice will be. Take out another one. And I keep going, essentially, until they put down a star. And it's bound to happen because there's 5 stars in that deck. I look again. This time I see it's the cross. So again, I ignore this one Before I write my next prediction, which is going to be the cross because the cross is here, I look at them, okay, I feel the next one you'll be drawn to is this. Now, they can be looking at these if they want, it doesn't matter. Your spectator can go through the deck face up with the faces facing them and choose the ones they want. So these can be conscious decisions if you want, or it could just be random. All right, so I've made my third prediction. Let's see what the third card will be. Now I see a star has gone down. Now I can stop because my first one was a star. At this point, all I have to do is get that star that's now on the top to the very bottom. So I pick these up. I say to my spectator, now take a look at what I've done. So as they're turning this over, I say, look at the first one I thought you'd choose as a star. Now it doesn't really make sense that it's coming off the top. That's why this is done at the same time I asked them to turn that over, and they're not quite seeing where that came from. But it doesn't matter anyway, because now they're about to see the rest of them in order as well. So I've revealed the star just by turning it face up. I pick it up, turn the rest of the stack face up and add it to the bottom. And now when I spread these, they're going to be in the perfect order. So whether I've done one of these, 2, 3, 4, even a whole list of these, I stop when I get to the star, make sure that star goes to the bottom, and then when I spread them out, they're going to match the predictions that I've written.
Yeah, it's really
Really
nice.
simple,
I think
really straightforward. This is the kind of thing where you'd sit down and build your own presentation around it, because like I say, you could have your spectator just looking at these like this, and then you're able to predict the decisions they're going to make before they make them, or this could just be random. I meant to do that.
like throwing
Yeah,
the
the
cards
energy
all
is
over
too
the place.
strong in the room.
Oh.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, no, that's great. I love it, and I especially love the cheekiness of the replacement, because there are various one ahead and one behind like matchup routines. The first really nice thing about this is that you're writing a prediction, so you only need the one deck, which is great.
Yeah.
And the second one is just that super cheeky, like, this is the symbol that should be here, I'm just going to deal it off the top. And
Yeah.
no one's going to notice.
It's as simple as that. So like I say, I always start with the star, and the great thing is, if the first card they put down is the star, you can either stop at that point or say, now let's do this again with even more. Now that we've established we can do this once, let's keep going. But yeah, so this is turned face up. Okay, so the first one I thought would be the star. And again, that move to make this work is pick up the star, turn the rest of the packet face up, put it on the bottom, and then when you spread these out in a line, it's going to match your predictions perfectly.
Yeah,
Just
no
a
need
nice-
to do second deals and bottom
Nope,
deals.
nothing
and
at all. There's
all
no
of that.
moves. Yeah,
No moves whatsoever.
and that's just a nice sort of sensing variation, whether you're predicting the conscious decisions they'll make or the subconscious decisions. And depending on your style, you could even have these face down, your spectator holds their hand over them and they choose the ones they feel somehow energetically drawn to. You could turn this into a whole thing. But yeah, I just wanted to show you that quick sort of method and idea, and then you can play around with it and build your own routines around this kind of one ahead or one behind. I can't even figure out.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah,
One
but
behind. I
there
think.
it is.
Cool. Well, yeah, that is a load of stuff about sensing stuff.
Yeah,
So,
nice. And now I sense I'm going to have to pick all these cards up off the floor.
yep. While you're doing that, I'll try and remember what came next in the show. Maybe we should run the reel.
Let's do it.